right, we are going to be doing a Google sign-in using React Native Expo and Firebase Authentication. I'm going to show you how to set this up right here, and I'll do a quick little demo so you can see what we're working with. It's basically going to be a Google sign-in button. We sign in, and then we sign out, and then that's basically it. So let's get started. First thing we are going to do is set up the repo. So we're going to be using create expo app at latest to set up our app, and we'll call it Google tutorial. And then we're also going to be using this template tab, so -t for template, and we're going to be using the tabs just so it automatically has tabs set up. Okay, once it's loaded, we're going to see into the Google tutorial that we just did, and then code on your favorite code editor. And probably the first thing we're going to do is pull up a terminal and then run npx expo prebuild. This will generate both the Android and the iOS folders, and the Android package, Google tutorial, those are the package name and the bundle identifier for iOS and Android. Okay, now we are going to run npx expo run iOS, and this will pull up the simulator, and we just want to make sure that this is working before we get started with anything else. Looks like we got the error xcrun simulate open URL. I'm not 100% sure what that is, so we're just going to run this again. Okay, I believe it had something to do with the iPhone not being opened up or it launching for the first time, but now we're working. And as we can see, it's working off the bat. If this is not working for you, I would recommend going to the Expo docs and just going through the getting started and setting up for iOS and Android. We'll start with iOS, and then at the very end, we'll make sure the Google sign is working on Android as well. So now we're going to go set up our Firebase project. So we're going to go to firebase.com, go to console. We're going to create a new project. We'll enable it Google tutorial. Continue. We're not going to do analytics. Okay, we're going to hit continue. And then we are going to make an Android. We have our package name. We can grab this from, I believe, our app.json. Right here, we have our package name, and it's going to be the same for iOS and Android. The package name and then the bundle identifier. So we're going to go put that in. We can just say Google, I like to call it Google tutorial, and then Android. And then we're going to get this SHA-1 key because we need it for the Google sign-in. So first we'll just make the Android and the iOS apps real quick, and then we'll go get this. Okay, so we're going to download this, but we're going to get this later because it changes as we get the SHA-1 key in this in the previous section. So we won't download it now. We're just going to create next, continue to console. Perfect. So we have the Android app, and now let's project overview. Let's do another app, and we'll do iOS as well. And we're just going to do the same thing. Google tutorial, and then iOS, and we'll register the app. And then we're going to need this plist later, but we'll just first get the SHA-1 key. So this basically lets us know that we are the ones signing in. So we're going to go to the Google Play console. And so if you haven't already, you're going to have to make a Google Play console account. Developer, you're going to have to make a developer account. And so we're going to create a new app. We're going to call it Google tutorial. This is an app. It's free. And then we create it. Nice. Now we're going to, I believe, production. We're going to create a new release. And then we're going to choose the signing key. So we're going to use Google generated key. All right, perfect. App signing key generated. So once that's said, we're going to go to here. We're going to the setup and then app signing on the left. We're going to grab this SHA-1 certificate. We're going to go to our Google tutorial, Android, and we're going to add these fingerprints right here. So we're going to save that. So we got that one. I don't know if you need this one for Google Sign-In, but you'll need this for uploading it if you do want to launch on the Android store. So we're going to use that as well. I don't think we need it for, we don't need it for Apple, but just in case, we did that first. So now we're going to download both the Google Services JSON as well as the Google Info, Google Service.info plist. And so then we're going to go to our Finder, and where is it? We're going to go to our downloads, and unfortunately these are the old ones I used, so we're going to have to change the name of these real quick. Okay, perfect. Now we have these files. We're going to throw them into just the root directory of our folder. So then we have them. Perfect. So now we have that taken care of. So now we are going to set up our Google Sign-In. So we're going to go and we're going to be using React Native Firebase for our package that we're going to be using for the Google Sign-In. So we're going to go down to the rn-firebase.io, Authentication. We're going to go social auth, and then we're going to go Google. And the Google Sign-In that we're going to be doing, we're going to be using the Google Sign-In library, which provides a wrapper around the official Google Login library. So let's see, I think the first thing we need to do, okay, here it is, getting started. Most configurations are set up. You do need the SHA-1 key, which we just configured for use with Android. So we're done with that. Ensure the Google Sign provider was enabled on the Google Firebase. Okay, so we're gonna go back to that and make sure for authentication the Google Sign-In is ready. So we have our Google, perfect, enable, and then we're going to call this is going to be the name that the user is going to see for it's the public facing project. So you want to call it basically your app name. So we're going to say Google tutorial plus hit the like button. And support email, we'll just have our own, it's my email right there. And then Google Sign-In is enabled for Firebase. Okay, so it looks like we are going to have to replace these. I don't know if we change it, but we'll just do that now just so we don't run into any problems later. So we'll download both of those. We have the new updated ones. We can just throw it in here and replace both of those. Perfect. And we're going to hit done. So now let's go back to the guide. And so now we're going to follow these instructions to set up the Google Sign-In. So Google Sign-In, we're going to go to the documentation, and we're going to be using this original Google Sign-In right here. So the first thing we're going to do is just copy and paste import examples. So we're going to use this sign-in. This is what we want. So the first thing we're going to do is actually get this module right here. This is the Google Sign-In module. So we're going to, let's exit out of here. We're going to say npm expo install React Native Google Sign-In. And then we're also going to want two other modules for this. We're going to be wanting the React Native Firebase Google Auth, so this one right here. And then we're also going to want React Native Firebase app, so those two. Let's see, invalid project, Google Sign-In, React Native. So we forgot to, so we're just going to copy and paste this. Let's see here. But we're going to add install right here. npm expo install, I think is what we're missing. All right, once those are installed, we're going to have to npm expo prebuild. So every time we prebuild, it remakes our iOS and Android folders. And because these packages deal with native code, we're going to have to rebuild it. And then now we run npm expo run iOS again to get our simulator up and running again. Okay, we got this error when we tried to update. So it looks like we have to do pod install. So we're gonna cd into our iOS folder, and then pod install repo update, or pod repo update, I believe is the command. Let's see if that works. Oh, we're gonna have to cd into iOS and then pod repo update. And then let's see, npm expo run iOS again. Let's see if that worked. npx expo run iOS. So we're still getting this error, and I forgot to go to the React Native Google Sign-In. We're going to go to Setup, and then Expo Setup, and we already did the npx expo install React Native Google Sign-In. Now we're going to scroll down to the Expo and Firebase, which is what we're going to be using. And we already got the 2 config files, and we placed them in the project, and then now we have to specify the paths. So right now we have the expo in our app.json. So let's go find that, the app.json, and then we have our Android and iOS packages right here. And so it looks like we're going to add the Google services file to our Android. Put it at the very end. And then we'll also add our plist to the iOS. And then we're going to run npx expo run iOS, see if that works. All right, I also had this, I believe I had this error earlier, and I kind of had like this fix around for adding expo build properties inside of our plugins, and also adding the React Native Firebase app into our plugins. This is something I'm not really sure, but I got this off of a Stack Overflow answer. And then so we're also going to npx expo install expo build properties. And then we're going to pre-build, and then we're going to run on iOS. Okay, we're going to cd into iOS. We're going to pod install. Okay, so it looks like we're still having problems with this. We're going to Google it. Okay, we're going to delete the iOS and the Android apps, and then we're going to npx expo pre-build. And then we're going to run npx expo run iOS. Okay, and it looks like after uninstalling, deleting the Android and the iOS app, it ended up working, so we're all good. All right, now we have the initial setup. Now we can actually get into the code a little bit more. So we're gonna go back into, so we're gonna go back to the React Native Google Sign-In docs, and we're gonna go to the original Google Sign-In, and we're going to go into this sign-in function that they give us, and we're just going to be using this for our Google sign-in. So first, we're going to go to our app, and then these are for web, so we can delete these. And then we're actually going to add an index file, index.tsx. So this will be the initial route when the screen first loads. So we're going to create a new, we're going to add the screen to the stack so it's at the top. So yeah, we're going to have to rerun this. Also, we're going to do rnfe index, perfect, and then npx expo run iOS. Okay, so now we have our index page, and unfortunately, we can't see the words index, but if we want, we can add a safe area view and then change this to safe area view. So now the index will show there. So the first thing we're going to do is add in this this sign-in component. So we just copied and pasted that. And this import, we want this up here as well. Import statuses. So let's clean this up a little bit. Okay. And let's tab this one more time somewhere in the code. Get rid of that. So now we have our sign-in function that we're going to call when the Google sign-in button is clicked. Is success response. I don't think we need actually any of these, so we're going to delete this. We can delete this. We can delete all this too, actually. I don't think we need any of this error handling. Or actually, you know what? We'll keep it in just in case. We'll import that. Okay, perfect. So now we have our sign-in. And we're gonna, luckily this Google sign-in has this cool button, Google sign-in button that we can use. So we're just gonna take this Google sign-in button and throw it down here. Google sign-in button. And sure, we'll tab that, and nice, we got this Google button that looks really good. I got this error before. Basically, it's because of we're calling, I think it's because we're calling this height and styles. So we can just get rid of that, and then I think that will fix it. I also like putting this in the center, so this is kind of unnecessary, but justify. I'm going to do flex 1, justify content, center, and then we're going to do align items, also center. And this should be working. Perfect. If we can spell style. Perfect. Now it's in the middle. We can get rid of this text. Now we have this nicely centered sign in with Google button. All right, perfect. And then once we click it, we are going to, on press, we're going to run this sign in function right here. So right now, it probably won't work, so we're not gonna click it right now. So we have the sign in button. So now that we have that taken care of, now we're gonna go back to our social authentication under the Google section right here. And we're going to want to set this up right here. So we have the Google sign in, and we have to set up this, before triggering a sign in request, we have to initialize the Google SDK using the web client. So we're going to copy and paste this. And we're going to add this to our Google sign-in.configure web client. And we're going to get it by going to the, it's the ID in our Google services JSON file. And we're going to make sure to pick the client ID with client type 3. So we're going to go Google services JSON, and we're going to go down, and we're looking for this right here, client type ID 3, and then we're just going to copy and paste this string. And we're going to go back to our index, and we're going to attach that to the web client ID. Okay. Then we have a Google sign-in button. On press, it does these things. So we're going to want to actually change this out. So this is actually what we want. This will make sure we sign in with the Google authentication. It's basically the same thing. We still call has play services and sign in. As we can see here, Google has play services plus the sign in. Perfect. And then I had this problem earlier where it wasn't correctly getting this ID token. So we're just going to call this response, and then later we can console.log this so you can see what we get. But basically, we're going to log in with the Google credential, auth.googleprovider.credential, and we still want the ID token, but it's going to be response.data and then .id token. And that's the correct one for it. And we're also going to import this auth, as we can see from React Native Firebase auth right here. So we're going to pull that and throw that up here. Perfect. Response.data, I think that's fine. And then see if we think anything else. Okay, on a successful sign-in, any on-auth state chain listener will trigger with new authentication state. So we're going to click on that, and basically we're going to use this, and this is how we're going to log in. So honestly, we're just going to copy and paste all this code right here. And actually, we'll copy and paste all this code, and then we'll throw it right here. Okay, so we have a use effect. Okay, so let's fix this first. So this is gonna be the login. Once they log in, we're going to welcome the user. So we're gonna throw that actually down here. This is gonna be the return. And then if not user, so if the user's not in, we're gonna have this login page, which is actually gonna be this right here. So we're gonna throw this right here. And then I think, yeah, this, what's that, the index? Yeah, we're gonna wanna throw that down below. And we're gonna get rid of that. All right. Okay, perfect. So we have the return. So we're gonna start here. So if there's not a user, we'll have the login page, which is what we see now. And once we are logged in, we'll have the user. And then later we'll do a sign out. We'll do a sign out button here, but we'll do that later. And then if it's still initializing, we'll just want to return null. And then we're going to want to import this use effect from React Native. So on any auth state change, we are going to set the user. And then once the user's set, that means we're logged in. And this is just listening for any on-auth state changes. So that looks good. We're also going to want to get this use state. So we're going to import those. And I like putting these are better at the top too, in my opinion. Like right here. Oh, whoops. It should not be in the sign-in. Yeah, we're going to have to fix this a little bit. I kind of messed this up. Okay, so we have, that's correct. We're gonna have our sign-in. Yeah, the sign-in is gonna be completely separate. And I don't know. Okay, here we go. And then we have our function on-auth state changed, where we're going to set user, which we cannot find because it's not in the right scope. We have so we have the index, and then we have the sign-in, which goes here. So we need to throw everything up here. Yeah, which is the problem. Yeah, that copy and paste did not do me justice. So sorry for that. Okay, hopefully you don't have to deal with this. Okay, so now that looks better. Okay, so we have our on-auth state change, and this is bugging me. Yeah, we're gonna have to move this down 1. Okay. So we have our login, we have our Google configuration, we have our sign-in function where we use to sign in, and then once we sign in, that looks good. Okay. So now we're gonna sign in and see if everything was working. I believe that should be good. Yes, we're gonna sign in, and bada boom, bada bing. So now we are in our sign in function, which is right here, which is this view. So we can do the same thing. We can add the style, spell it right this time, justify content, center, yes, and we have to add flex to that. I was like, why is it not working? Okay, there we go. And we'll do the align items, center. Okay, perfect. So now we have welcome Andrew S. Heim, And now we want the sign out button. And this is what's going to be that signs us out. So it's just going to be a touchable opacity, which we're going to also import. Touchable opacity on press auth.signout. Yeah, that looks really good. Touchable opacity, perfect. And we're just going to call the auth, which is from auth React Native Firebase auth, and then that will, in theory, just sign us out. Let me just check if we need to. Signing out, then the user has signed out. Okay, yeah, it looks good, because then once we sign out, we'll have an on state change, and it will trigger, and the parameter will then be a null value. And then once it's a null value, it'll be not users, and we'll go back to this screen. So let's see if it works. Okay, nice. So now our authentication is working for iOS. Nice. So now we're going to pull up, oh yeah, and this is the response data in our console log dog. So we got response.data, and then we have that long ID token right here, which we then plug in to log into our Google Auth provider. So now that we have everything working for that, let's run up npx run Android, because there's a couple more steps required for this one. So I want to make sure it's working both for iOS and Android. For some reason, I have to press Command-Z for this to pop up. But yeah, now it's popped up. And if you haven't gotten this set up already, again, go to the React Native site and set up the device manager in Android Studio. Okay, it looks like I got this error, could not connect to development server. So we're just going to reload and then see if that fixes it. Let's move this over a little bit. We do not want to be pressing that. All right, reload. Because our development server is right here, so it should be working. But it might be because we just switched from iOS. We're going to reload it. All right, there we go. It says we can't connect to Metro. Here, let's exit out of the iOS simulator. Can't connect to Metro. It looks like we're connected though. Okay, so the first thing we're gonna do. Okay, checking info. We're gonna see if it works. It didn't work last time, but we can hope. One can hope. Okay, I had a problem with this where I believe I couldn't connect to the internet. So we're going to go to the settings, which is right here, network and settings, and network, internet. And then I had a lot of trouble. For some reason, the Android simulator wasn't connecting to the internet in this Android Wi-Fi. So there's a couple different things that we can do to fix this. So DNS 888, excellent strength. So we're going to go to the tab right here. And then these are, I go to static, and then put in these settings, 10.0.2.3, and then fill out with these specific ones. I learned this from a Stack Overflow answer, and then for some reason it was working earlier, but now it's not working. So maybe we go back to, this is the original settings it was on. Okay, I ended up getting the Android Wi-Fi connected and working. I'm not sure exactly what did it. I switched the IP settings to DHCP from the static I had previously. I had also gone into my network settings right here. Go to network, click on Wi-Fi, click on the Wi-Fi you're connected to and the details. Go to DNS, and then I added 8.888 and 8844. And then it ended up working. So not 100% sure what the fix was, but now that it is working, let's go back to our sign in with Google, and let's sign in. And in theory, we should get past this part. Perfect. All right, I'm gonna put in my password, but I'll blur it out. Okay, we have two-factor authentication. This is me. All right, great. Okay, I had this problem earlier where basically this isn't signing in, and we can actually get the logs from this. The issue I found was right here. So if we do like a try catch block and throw this in, and we'll do a catch error, console.log error, and then let's save that, and then now we click sign in. So I basically added this try catch block right here, and then I got this error, developer error. I googled it, got this Stack Overflow or this GitHub link, and basically a lot of people were having the same error, and the answer was getting the key tool, using this to get the SHA-1 key for the debug key in the Firebase project. So basically we go to the Android and then we go to app, and we have this debug key store right here, and we want to get the SHA-1 key from here. So what I did is I just moved it over here to the debug.keystore, and then I used this command right here, the key tool Android debug keystore that they used. I'm not very good with the pathing, and just to make it easier, I put it in the root directory, so that I could just use debug.keystore for the directory. And so I copy and paste this line right here. We'll close this, and we'll do the key tool, and there we go. We got the SHA-1 certificate right there, which is apparently causing the error. So we're going to take this, go to our back to our Firebase project, going to our Android tutorial, our Android app, and then we're going to add the fingerprint for the SHA-1. And then I also added the SH256. I honestly don't know if you need this, but I thought I might as well add it. And then save it. And now we're going to also need a new Google services.json. So we're going to go to our downloads, and this is the new one right here. So we're going to delete, these are the old ones. So we're going to have to change the name of this one again. And I'm going to and then before I add this, I'm actually going to I did Command Z to put the debug.keystore in the correct spot. I just moved it around so I could use this command better. And then I'm going to add the updated Google service.json and replace it with the new one. And then it has the updated SH1. So now, in theory, when I sign in with Google, first we have to run expo run Android. All right, we're gonna hit the sign in with Google. It looks like we are now getting this new error. Oh, you know what? So let's go back to the index. Let's cancel all this. Let's go to our index.tsx, and right here in this try catch blocks, because we have the response in this try catch, the response object isn't accessed here. So we need to either put everything in that try catch block, or we just need to remove the try catch block. So we are just removing it, and then we're going to run npx expo run Android again, and then boom, we have our login, and now it is working on both Android and in iOS. So thanks for watching.